I'm not quite sure if the camera is on. The timer is not on. Okay, so I'm going to start talking. So it's Wednesday, April 10th, 2019 at 4:36 p.m. Omar Rampersad. And I'm going to give you today's sampling of my being tagged. So my arm is hurting. So both arms are tagged and the chest. See, if this was radiation that's in the general atmosphere around me, this would go off anywhere or anywhere in my body. It wouldn't go off selectively. Like it wouldn't be high on my arm and low on my chin and low on my head or non-existent in my head. You know, if this was just general Wi-Fi in the area, if I'm picking up the neighbor's Wi-Fi or even mine, it's going to be all around. But it's not. It's specifically high and low in certain spots when I point the detector at my body. So I'm tagged. I'm tagged. There's no doubt that I'm tagged. So, excuse me. The point of the tagging, the point I'm trying to make with the tagging is that I'm being stalked inside of my unit. So the ongoing targeting program in which I'm in, which is really a cover for trafficking, as I said in so many of my other videos, um, is that is coming out of this building, that is being done in the building, is ongoing. It's persistent. It's on an everyday basis, minute by minute basis, which is why I come on the YouTube and I talk about it, because if I don't talk and I don't put my side of the story, somebody's going to come up knocking at my door and pull me out again. Simply because part of this targeting program is to suppress my voice. The whole idea is for it to be one-sided. This is what it means to be servile. Somebody else, and in my case, the community, because I'm flagged and the community is taking care of me, because I'm supposed to be mentally retarded and some sort of a criminal, and I used to be a prostitute. All lies. Not true. Absolutely not true. So the community is taking part in taking care of me, which really is disposing of me. Either have me mentally committed or criminalized artificially by setting me up and framing me. So what is coming out of this building, because I live in the building, and the people around is taking part in the program, people in the building, they're taking care of me, quote unquote. They're constantly having meetings about me, no disclosure. None of this has ever been disclosed to me. They are monitoring me, they're surveilling me inside of my home. This is what the signals are all about. They're using these signals to torture me, experiment on me, and the result of the experimentation is recorded and then taken to court, given to the cops as backup to prove how mentally ill I am. Which is why I get on the YouTube every single day and I put my face in a public forum and I speak out against it and I talk about what I'm being updated with. Because I know if I don't do that, there's a very good chance that somebody is going to knock on my door and slam me against the wall and pull me out for another mental evaluation. Keep in mind, slamming you against the wall will, if you react to it, will make you look mentally ill. So to avoid that from happening and to prove that what the people are saying is part of the targeting program, they're lying because I'm a target, and that's what they do with targets. That's what is done with targets. they're expected to lie. That's part of the program. That's part of the targeting, because they know that it's all fixed at the top. So the cops are in on it, the lawyers are in on it, the courts are in on it. So it's fixed. So lie and they'll be fine. So today I tweeted some tweets about the pickup guy outside who came to pick up scrap metal, and it's the same guy all the time. And he was having this conversation with the worker outside the window, and he was updating me. So it would seem that I'm jail baited, and a neighbor flagged me because I was walking back and forth, and whatever it else that they reported about me. I have absolutely, absolutely, absolutely no contact with my neighbors. No one on this floor. I avoid it because I know what's going on. What happens is they make contact with you and then they make a report and lie about what's said, what's done, what actions I did, what I did with my hands, whatever, what I did with my feet. Lies, just basically, just out and out lies. So I avoid the contact because there's an ongoing case, so I avoid contact. So whatever they say is lies. Whatever is being reported that they observed about me are lies, because to my knowledge, I don't have contact with them. So if they said they observed me, then they would have to be following me, stalking me to make that observation. So these are lies. I understand that I'm jail baited, and there is a new seed, and the seed is a black man. And so I also tweeted about getting emails from headhunters about prospects for jobs. So what happened in the past, and I'm going to call this company's name because I know for a fact that somebody signed for me. So the company's name is Briley, and the manager signed for me, meaning that the company and the manager knew that I'm a target, or else you wouldn't be signing for me. So what they most likely sign is some sort of a contract with the cops saying they're going to monitor me on site because I'm registered up with whatever it is I'm registered up with, mentally ill prostitute, I heard. But this is what I'm being harassed with. So that's without a diagnosis, and that's without a criminal charge. So these are all suspicions. So this person signed for me, and I was surveilled in the company, and I was passed around. Everybody took turns because they were subcontracting from the person who signed, and they all had opinions about me. So a report was generated about me, degrading my abilities, and I was flagged. This is what I'm harassed with outside the window. And the flagging caused the continuation of the monitoring. So then this person held a contract, in other words, controlling my employment situation, who I work for, how much I earn, because he's now part of this team that makes decisions on my behalf from Briley. I heard the name Paul. So the contract was held by this company and this company had control over who I work for and who they subcontracted the monitoring to. Then they made reports about me to the cops, and the cops flagged me, and the monitoring is continuing. So I'm in for another 5 years, I heard. So the headhunters who are calling me now is again putting me in the same situation, no disclosure. So again, I'm going to go in. And at Briley, I was harassed horrendously, and I'm suspecting that the same technologies that's generating these signals that's causing pain, torturing me basically, was used in the company, maybe by somebody outside of the company, because these things can be set up this way. Like these signals doesn't have to be coming from inside of the building. It could come up. It could be coming from outside of the building. Although I have a strong suspicion that it is coming from inside of the building, in my case. And when I'm outside in public, then obviously from an outside source. So in this company, I was tortured, and I ended up in the hospital in the emergency because the microwaves causes heart palpitations, causes stress, causes thickening of the blood, causes blood clots, and all sorts of other diseases and stress-related conditions. I was fired after 2 weeks, and after I was subcontracted around to a lot of Chinese workers who was talking about the ongoing case I have in the building, calling the person who's in the court system with me. They were talking openly about this in the building, in the workplace, about what was going on in the building. I was fired after 2 weeks. So this is going on again. As I was updated outside the window, I'm jail-baited, which means that I'm flagged. And there is enough information in the police's database that if somebody makes a call for whatever it is I'm flagged for, and I'm not sure what it is exactly, if somebody in the workplace calls the cops one time, the cops will then turn around and charge me because there's enough information to present to a judge to make that charge happen. Even though it's a lie, even though it's based on lies, the conspiracy, the meetings, and the plans that are made by the teams that's in this building, they conspired to do this. They colluded with the cops and conspired to get that flag in place. So the next company that employs me will monitor me, piggyback on those reports and the flag, and have me charged. Because I heard that the informants, all the past ones who violated me, want me inside, want me imprisoned to get rid of me because they don't want me to come after them for what they did. Because it's illegal what they did and what is still being done. Because what it is remote rape. These signals, when pulsed between your legs, is remote rape. This is what's being done in the workplace as well, because these sensations are felt in the workplace, which means that somebody or a lot of people taking turns are using a link and a password and imaging you, logging into you, quote unquote, and hitting you with these signals between your legs, torturing you in the workplace while you work, and you're supposed to be concentrating while they do that to you. So this is what slavery is all about, sex slavery, where a lot of people, not only women, men, they're doing this to men as well. And you could well imagine with a man's penis that's external. At least a woman is internal, the genitals are internal. With a man's penis, it's external. You hit a man's penis with a laser, I'm guessing it's going to be really, really, really painful. Not to talk about, there's cancer down the line. There is impotence down the line. There is infertility down the line. So for men, it's very serious. Very, very, very. And they should be taking it very seriously because they're doing this to men as well. Because there's a satanic twist to all of this. And the satanic twist to it give rise to a lot of bisexuality and homosexuality. And I'm not saying these things are satanic necessarily. I'm saying in the satanic cults, these things are practiced routinely, and it's needed to be practiced. It's required. So because of the satanic twist, men are being attacked just like women are, if not more, maybe. So men should be very concerned about this as well. So here I am again in the market looking for work. I'm recovered. I'm looking for work. Being off work for about 3 months sick because of the last time I found a job and got harassed with these signals and got harassed about the contents of these reports and being jail-baited. Heart palpitations, all kinds of inflammation and pain and headaches and radiation sickness, basically. I'm back in the market looking for work. And again, this morning, the conversation outside the window, I understand I was jail-baited again. And the same setup is being repeated because somebody wants me in prison because I'm exposing what's going on. It's a satanic agenda. This whole thing is it has a satanic twist. And the twist is to enslave, not only sexually enslave people, but just to enslave people, period. To have complete control over a human being. You know, that pyramid, the beehive structure at the top, one person enslaves everybody else. Queen bee, the queen bee syndrome, I call it personally. So, I'm just, again, today I'm saying that there is no mental illness, there is no emergency. If I verbalize inside my home, that's just what I'm doing. I'm verbalizing. It's not meant for anybody to hear. If they're listening, then they shouldn't be listening. They shouldn't be recording. I know I'm being targeted. They should not be spying on me. I'm not spying on anybody. If something weird happens around my building, around my unit, I will take steps to find out what it is without being intrusive in any way. And now, if people are talking about my walking back and forth in the corridor, I don't aimlessly walk back and forth in the corridor. I go to the garbage chute, I go out. I may go out more than once in the day. The corridor is a public space. I could be there all day without being noisy, and it's still nobody's business. Which, of course, I don't do, but I'm just saying. It's nobody's business. It's a public space. So the neighbors shouldn't be harassing me by constantly complaining. Unless, I mean, I would complain if somebody, and I have, if someone stands outside my door and make noise all the time. But if nobody is doing anything to anybody in the corridor, why complain? That's harassment. It's out and out harassment. And my neighbors are harassing me this way. Constantly calling the cops on me is harassment. I'm being harassed. Now, I also talked about in my tweets about Paul Bernardo, and I talked about the investigations and how it was done, and I said this in another video. I only did that because somebody mentioned his name when I was least expecting it, and it was such a shock to my system that it stayed with me for 3 years running now, and because of certain things that happened after that, I went back and I researched the Bernardo case, and it had to do with torture, stalking, kidnapping, torture, rape, and murder, and a lot of it raises questions about satanic ritual, abuse, and sacrifice, the way it was done. It also raised the question about infiltration of the police force and the people who investigate these types of crimes by these satanic groups. All these miscommunications and a failure to get an arrest. You've got to ask the question: was it covered up? Was it an experiment, number one? Not by government agencies, but by satanic groups. Because I really don't believe, even though some videos that I posted talk about government participation, I think it's the infiltrated people in the government are doing it, not the government that we vote in. So I'm not anti-government when I say that there are people in the government who are taking part in this cover-up and the crime itself. So there are pedophiles everywhere. There are pedophiles in the churches, as we all know, and it's all over the mainstream media. There's pedophiles in the school system, again, in the mainstream media. Of course, there are pedophiles in the police force and the RCMP and all the policing agencies. And these people will take part in crimes and cover it up. So, you have to wonder why it took so long to get an arrest in the Paul Bernardo's case, even after he gave DNA samples and blood samples and so on. And his father was a convicted child molester, a pedophile. And he was interviewed 2 years before he killed the two people he killed, the two young girls, 14 and 15. Why is it that I have to ask this question? Given the nature of the crime being committed and the violence, and given that this person was on the police's radar and he had a father who was a pedophile, a convicted one, a charged one. So obviously the cops knew about the family, knew about the history. Why is it that he was not placed under 24-hour surveillance from the time that he got on their radar? Why was he not surveilled 24/7? If targets like myself could be surveilled 24/7, including in the bathroom inside my home, why is it rapists and murderers and torturers like Paul Bernardo are not surveilled inside of their home 24/7 when there is real concern for public safety? I heard that I was registered into the system as a prostitute, which I would never was, and based on suspicions, which is in my case a cover to be trafficked. But people like Paul Bernardo are not surveilled 24/7 when they are in this list, interviewed for rape, murder. Well, actually, at that point, it was violent rape and stalking, when the father was a charged pedophile, and there were several rapes in the area. So this was not only suspicion, this was deep concern for public safety. So how come this person wasn't put under 24-hour surveillance like I am? Somebody who's a target and completely innocent. There's absolutely nothing nothing criminal in my background. I was in school. I was working full time. I was at university, working late, studying late, coming home late. And they registered me up. Somebody flagged me in this building as a prostitute. But people like Paul Bernardo, no problem. No flags for Paul Bernardo. Paul Bernardo doesn't get surveilled 24/7 inside of his home, because that would be invasion of privacy. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. Because if I'm being surveilled 24/7 inside of my home, how come people like Paul Bernardo were not surveilled 24/7 for years before he could kill these two poor innocent, not only killed, horrifically tortured them before he did that, before he killed them? How come he wasn't surveilled 24/7? Because pedophiles are running the whole thing. It's paint the victim, or paint the whistleblower in my case, and criminalize the person and put them in prison because they're exposing what's going on. Rohini Besasa was starting to question. That's why she was disposed of. She was set up as I'm being set up. Talk to you another time.